9 ways how kindness will ruin your life. Have you ever been told you're just too nice for your own good? At first, it sounds like a compliment, right? But dig a little deeper, and you'll notice a shadow lurking behind those words, a warning, perhaps even a curse. Because while kindness is hailed as one of humanity's greatest virtues, too much of it, or kindness applied without boundaries, can turn your life into an endless loop of exhaustion, frustration, and resentment. Picture this. You're the dependable one, always there to lend a hand, offer a listening ear, or pick up the slack when someone else falters. You're the person who never says no, even when your plate is already overflowing. And yet, instead of gratitude, you're met with entitlement. Instead of reciprocity, you're left drained. And instead of respect, you're sometimes overlooked entirely. Sound familiar? Here's the hard truth. Kindness, when unchecked, can backfire spectacularly. It's not that kindness itself is the villain, it's how, where, and to whom it's applied that can lead to unexpected chaos. And the most alarming part? The same trait that makes you compassionate and empathetic can also attract the wrong people. Manipulators, freeloaders, and energy vampires who thrive on your endless willingness to give. So is kindness ruining your life? Before you dismiss the idea as absurd, take a moment to reflect. Are your relationships one-sided? Are you constantly sacrificing your own needs for others? Do you sometimes feel invisible, despite everything you do for those around you? This isn't a call to abandon kindness altogether. Far from it. It's a wake-up call to wield it wisely, like a sharp blade rather than a dull tool. And in this guide, we'll uncover 9 eye-opening ways kindness, if misused, can turn your life upside down. And most importantly, how to reclaim your balance without losing the good-hearted core of who you are. Let's start with the first way kindness can go astray. Becoming too available without boundaries. Stay tuned. It's about to get real. Number 1, the always available trap. When kindness turns you into a doormat. Let's talk about that person, the one who's always there. The one who never misses a call, texts back within seconds, and jumps to solve everyone's problems faster than a superhero on caffeine. Sound familiar? If so, congratulations. You might just be the go-to person in your circle, or, as some might put it, the world's most reliable doormat. Here's the thing. Being available is nice. It's polite. But being too available? That's like putting a free 24/7 customer service sign on your forehead. The more you say yes, the more others will assume it's your default setting. Need a last-minute favor? Call you. Forgot their wallet? You'll pay. Feeling bored? Oh, you'll drop everything to entertain them. The kicker? Most of these people don't even realize they're taking advantage of you. Why? Because you've taught them to expect it. Your unfiltered kindness has set the bar at always there, no matter what. And now you're stuck living up to the impossible standard you unknowingly created. The consequences of constant availability. Burnout. You're emotionally and physically drained, running on fumes because everyone else's needs have hijacked your time. Resentment. Deep down, you start feeling unappreciated, even bitter, but can't figure out why. Spoiler alert, it's because you've given too much without asking for anything in return. Loss of respect. Here's the harsh truth. People respect boundaries, not endless availability. By saying yes to everything, you're silently telling them your time isn't valuable. A Stoic take on overavailability. Marcus Aurelius, the ultimate boundary setter, once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Translation? You're not obligated to pick up every call, respond to every message, or fix every mess. The world won't end if you say no. Trust me, it survived before you became everyone's unpaid therapist. Practical tips to reclaim your time. Start saying no, politely. Practice phrases like, "I'd love to help, but I'm swamped right now." Or the classic, "I can't, but thanks for asking." Schedule your kindness. Set designated helping hours. Outside of those, let your phone enjoy some quality time in do not disturb mode. Delegate. Next time someone dumps a problem on you, smile and say, "Sounds tough. How are you planning to handle it?" Watch their face. Priceless. Kindness isn't about being a human vending machine, dispensing help at the push of a button. It's about offering support when you can, without sacrificing your sanity. So next time someone asks you for just one little thing, remember, you're not the world's emotional janitor. Stand tall, set your boundaries, and take a well-deserved break. Number 2, the nice person tax. Paying the price for pleasing everyone. Have you ever noticed that when you're too kind, you start paying for it, figuratively and literally? They call it the nice person tax. And trust me, it's not tax deductible. Being overly kind often makes you the go-to person for every unpaid favor, inconvenient errand, and group expense that everyone else mysteriously forgets to contribute to. Picture this. You're out with friends for dinner, and when the bill arrives, suddenly half the table is too busy checking Instagram to do math. After a few awkward moments of silence, guess who volunteers to cover the missing amount? That's right, you, the kind one, who doesn't want to ruin the vibe or seem stingy. Congratulations! Your kindness just cost you $20 and a slice of your dignity. And it's not just about money. The nice person tax shows up in other ways too. Time debt. You're the one who stays late at work, picks up the slack, or does someone else's job just this once. Spoiler alert, it's never just once. Emotional overdraft. Everyone dumps their problems on you because you're such a great listener. Meanwhile, your emotional tank runs on empty, but hey, at least you're nice, right? Why kindness attracts this tax, being kind is admirable. But when you don't pair it with boundaries, you might as well wear a sign that says, "Take advantage of me, please." People subconsciously gravitate toward those who never say no or complain. Why? Because it's easier for them. And sadly, convenience often trumps gratitude. A Stoic perspective on the nice person. Tax Seneca, the OG Stoic, wisely noted, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." When you're too kind, it's not others' greed that drains you. It's your own craving for approval. You give too much, hoping to feel appreciated, but instead you're left wondering why you're still paying the price. How to stop paying the tax invoice. Your time, start valuing your contributions. When asked for a favor, ask yourself, what's this costing me? If it's too much, politely decline. Learn the art of not now. You don't have to say no outright. Try, "I'd love to help, but I'm swamped at the moment. Can we revisit this later?" Share the burden. At work or in social settings, gently remind others to contribute. For example, "Let's split this evenly," or "Could you handle this part?" Remember, kindness isn't a blank check. Kindness should come from a place of strength, not obligation. You're not a doormat, a bank, or a therapist on speed dial. Generosity is a beautiful thing, but only when it's given freely, not extracted under pressure. So next time someone expects you to pick up their slack, smile politely and think, "Not today," because the nice person tax is optional and you're officially exempt. Number 3, unconditional giving drains your energy. Imagine trying to water a garden with an empty watering can. That's what happens when you give endlessly without refilling your own emotional reserves. You simply run dry. Unconditional giving may feel noble, but when it becomes a habit, it starts to erode your well-being. The truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. Kindness without recharge, a recipe for exhaustion. Think about your daily interactions. At work, you volunteer to take on extra tasks even when your plate is full. In your relationships, you're the one always making sacrifices, canceling plans, giving up rest, or bending over backward to accommodate someone else's needs. While your intentions are good, your constant giving leaves you physically and emotionally drained. Let's be honest. When was the last time someone said, "Take a break, you've done enough"? The unfortunate reality is that most people will take what you offer without considering whether you have anything left to give. And that's not their fault entirely. It's because you've trained them to expect it. The cost of exhaustion in love and work. In relationships, overgiving often looks like this. You're always the one texting first, planning dates or fixing problems. Instead of a balanced partnership, it starts to feel like a one-person show. At work, you're the reliable colleague who picks up the slack when others falter. While this earns you a reputation for dependability, it often goes unnoticed or, worse, exploited. And where does that leave you? Exhausted, unappreciated, and silently resenting the very people you're trying to help. The Stoic take. Balance is key. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. But here's the Stoic twist. Being good doesn't mean self-sacrifice at the cost of your well-being. It means finding balance. A Stoic knows their limits and honors them, because only by maintaining their own strength can they truly serve others. Practical tips to reclaim your energy without losing kindness. Set giving hours. Decide when and how much energy you'll dedicate to helping others each day. For example, offer assistance during work hours but protect your evenings for rest and self-care. Learn to say not now. Instead of jumping to help immediately, say, I'd love to help, but I need some time to recharge first. This sets a boundary while keeping the door open. Refill your cup first. Schedule regular self-care activities, whether it's a quiet evening with a book, a walk in nature, or an hour at the gym. These moments aren't luxuries, they're necessities. Recharge to give more effectively. Remember, you're not just doing this for yourself. When you take care of your own needs, you're in a much better position to give to others. Your kindness becomes more intentional, impactful, and meaningful. So stop trying to be everyone's hero while neglecting your own well-being. Take a moment to breathe, refuel, and regain your strength. Only then can your kindness shine the way it's truly meant to. Number 4, your generosity attracts manipulative people. Ah, the kind-hearted magnet. You, with your ever-open wallet, your never-ending patience, and your "sure, I can do that for you" attitude, are like a beacon for manipulative people. It's not your fault. Your generosity is a gift. But to some, it's also an opportunity, and they exploit it without hesitation. The anatomy of a manipulator. Manipulative people are like cats at a feast. They sniff out your kindness from miles away, purring their way into your good graces before swiping the roast off your plate. They know how to flatter, guilt trip, and promise the world just to get what they want. And before you know it, your resources, whether it's time, energy, or money, are drained, leaving you wondering why you feel so used. Picture this. At work, a colleague sweet talks you into doing their part of the project. "You're so much better at this than I am," they say. You spend hours perfecting the report, only for them to take the credit at the next meeting. In love, you're dating someone who conveniently forgets their wallet every time you go out. "I'll pay you back," they promise. But somehow, the bill always lands in your lap, and their debts never leave your memory. When kindness turns into a target, the harsh reality is that manipulators aren't drawn to your kindness because they admire it. They see it as an entry point. They'll frame their needs as emergencies or use guilt to make you feel like you're the only one who can save them. And because you're kind, you want to help. But helping turns into enabling, and before long, you're stuck in their web. The Stoic approach to shielding yourself, Epictetus famously said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." What does this mean in the face of manipulation? Set boundaries and stick to them. It's not enough to say, "I value my time." You have to show it through your actions. True kindness includes protecting yourself from those who exploit it. Practical ways to avoid becoming a magnet for manipulators. Spot the signs. Be wary of people who never reciprocate, always ask for favors, or disappear when you need help. Master the art of no. Practice saying, "I'd love to help, but I can't commit right now." Bonus points if you say it with a smile. Request accountability. The next time someone asks for your help, ask them to do their part first. For example, "Sure, I can look into that, but can you email me the details first?" Manipulators hate effort. It's like garlic to a vampire. Enforce reciprocity. If they borrow $20, ask for it back politely but firmly. If they can't reciprocate, it's a sign they're not worth your investment. Manipulation. Detox the kindness that protects you. Here's the good news. Once you recognize manipulative patterns, you can shut them down without guilt. Kindness doesn't mean allowing others to use you. It means being generous on your own terms. By practicing discernment, you protect your energy and preserve your generosity for people who truly value it. And the manipulators? They'll scurry away, looking for their next victim. Kindness is a strength, not a weakness. Just don't let it be the bait that attracts the wrong crowd. Instead, use it wisely and watch how the right people start showing up in your life. Number 5, kindness without reciprocity breeds resentment. Kindness, when reciprocated, is like a beautiful symphony, a harmonious exchange of care, love, and appreciation. But when it flows in only one direction, it turns into a solo performance where you're carrying all the weight, and eventually the music stops, leaving you bitter, exhausted, and asking, why am I the only one trying? The downward spiral of one-sided relationships. Imagine you're in a romantic relationship where you're always the giver. You plan the dates, pay the bills, remember their birthday, and even go out of your way to surprise them with their favorite things. Meanwhile, they can't even be bothered to text you back consistently. They say they're bad at remembering dates or not great with gestures, and you nod along, convincing yourself they'll do better next time. But they don't. Instead, your kindness becomes the default. They expect you to show up, to give, to be there, without ever reciprocating. And as time goes on, your acts of love, once so pure and joyful, begin to feel transactional. The resentment creeps in like an unwelcome guest, and suddenly, your once bright affection feels like a chore. When kindness becomes a cage, kindness without reciprocity doesn't just exhaust you, it traps you in a dynamic where you're undervalued. The more you give without getting, the more they take without noticing. This doesn't make them evil, it just makes them human. We're wired to adapt to the patterns we're shown, and if you consistently prioritize their needs over your own, they'll believe that's how the relationship is meant to function. In love, it's not about keeping score, it's about mutual effort. But when the scoreboard perpetually reads 0 to 100, it's not love. It's emotional labor disguised as devotion. A Stoic lens on reciprocity. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, "Love only that which happens to you and is spun with the thread of your destiny." What does this mean for your relationships? Focus on what is mutual, real, and balanced. Love that isn't reciprocated is like pouring water into a bottomless bucket. The Stoics teach us that love should empower, not deplete. If your acts of kindness are met with apathy or entitlement, it's time to reassess whether this is the destiny you wish to weave. Practical examples of reciprocity in love. Scenario 1. The date planner. You've been planning every single date. One day you decide to pause and ask, what would you like to do this weekend? Your turn to pick. If they don't step up, it's a sign they're too comfortable taking your lead. Scenario 2. The apology drought. You're always the one apologizing, even when it's not your fault. Next time they hurt your feelings, wait for them to acknowledge it. If they brush it off or refuse to take accountability, it's time to evaluate the emotional balance. Scenario 3. The invisible partner. You've been celebrating their milestones, promotions, birthdays, achievements, but they forgot yours. Speak up kindly. I love supporting you, but it would mean so much to me if we celebrated my wins too. If they care, they'll take action. Turning resentment into empowerment. Here's the hard truth. Love isn't about giving endlessly. It's about giving intentionally and receiving in return. If you find yourself in a relationship where kindness is one-sided, you're not trapped, you're choosing, and you can choose differently. Start by setting boundaries. Communicate expectations. Say what you need without apology. I love planning our weekends, but I'd like us to take turns. It'll make things more balanced. Pause the effort. Temporarily stop overextending. Let them notice the void your kindness fills. If they step up, great. If not, you have clarity. Prioritize yourself. Redirect the energy you've been pouring into them toward yourself, your goals, passions, and well-being. The power of balanced kindness. When you hold space for reciprocity, you don't just strengthen your relationships, you attract partners who value and match your effort. And when love becomes a two-way street, it stops feeling like work and starts feeling like home. So the next time you find yourself giving too much in a one-sided relationship, ask yourself, am I being kind or am I losing myself in the process? True kindness isn't about endless giving, it's about shared joy, mutual effort, and a love that replenishes rather than drains. Number 6, being too nice can undermine your authority. Kindness is a virtue, but when wielded without balance, it can strip you of the authority and respect you've worked so hard to earn. You're not just being nice, you're sacrificing your power, credibility, and even your voice. In both personal and professional settings, excessive kindness can make you seem weak, indecisive, or worse, a pushover. When kindness becomes your kryptonite, picture this. You're a manager tasked with leading a team. You want to be approachable, so you let deadlines slide just this once. Your reasoning? I don't want to seem too harsh. But soon, just this once becomes the norm. Team members start missing deadlines, quality drops, and suddenly you're the one staying late to fix their mistakes. Your kindness? It's not inspiring respect, it's inviting chaos. Now apply this to your personal life. Imagine always saying yes to your partner's demands or avoiding difficult conversations because you don't want to upset them. Over time, this doesn't just breed frustration. It erodes the balance in your relationship. They stop seeing you as an equal and start treating you as a convenience. Kindness without strength is just permission. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What does this mean? Your kindness is not a currency to be traded for approval or affection. True strength lies in setting boundaries and enforcing them, even if it means saying no when it's uncomfortable. Kindness is powerful only when balanced with conviction. Without strength, it becomes permission for others to take advantage, ignore your boundaries, or treat you as secondary. Practical scenarios where being too nice backfires. In leadership, you constantly agree to last-minute changes or additional work for your team without holding anyone accountable. Your kindness is perceived as weakness, and soon your authority is undermined. In relationships, you avoid expressing your needs or frustrations for fear of conflict. This doesn't create harmony, it creates inequality, where your voice and desires are lost. In friendships, you're always available, always accommodating, and always saying yes. Over time, friends stop valuing your time because they assume you'll always make theirs a priority. The Stoic way strengthened kindness. Epictetus reminds us, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Don't explain why you're saying no or justifying your decisions. Act with clarity and confidence. The people who respect you will understand. Those who don't never deserved your kindness to begin with. Steps to balance kindness with authority. Set clear expectations. Be upfront about what you will and won't tolerate. Whether it's deadlines, personal boundaries, or how you're treated, clarity is your first line of defense. Practice saying no. You don't owe anyone endless agreement. Declining with respect is not unkind, it's empowering. Example, I'd love to help, but I'm fully committed right now. Call out. Disrespect. If someone crosses your boundaries or undermines your authority, address it directly. I noticed this wasn't completed on time. Let's discuss how we can prevent this going forward. Reward respect. Acknowledge and appreciate those who value your kindness while respecting your boundaries. This reinforces healthy dynamics. Why strength and kindness go hand in hand. When you're kind without being firm, you become easy to ignore. But when you pair kindness with strength, you command attention and respect. Your boundaries become non-negotiable, your voice carries weight, and your relationships thrive on mutual respect rather than one-sided sacrifice. The power of balanced authority. Imagine being the leader others trust, not because you're always agreeable, but because you're fair, firm, and resolute. Picture your partner admiring you not just for your love, but for your unwavering sense of self. This is the essence of balanced kindness, powerful, magnetic, and deeply respected. Kindness isn't about giving endlessly, it's about knowing when to stand firm, when to let go, and when to say, I matter too. By balancing kindness with authority, you don't just gain respect, you embody the very definition of strength. Let this be your mantra. Kindness with strength is unstoppable. Kindness without it is unsustainable. Number 7. Over-accommodating creates unrealistic expectations. Ever heard the phrase, give them an inch and they'll take a mile? Over-accommodating is like hosting a free all-you-can-eat buffet at your own expense. At first, people are grateful, even impressed by your generosity. But before long, they start showing up unannounced, raiding the fridge, and complaining that the dessert isn't to their liking, when your kindness turns into a curse. Imagine this. Your coworker asks you to cover their shift because they really need the day off. You're a nice person, so you say yes. Next week, they ask again, then the week after. Suddenly, you're not just a coworker. You're their on-call backup. And the kicker? They never even thank you. Or picture this in a relationship. Your partner hints that they'd love breakfast in bed. You, ever the romantic, deliver eggs, toast, and coffee with a smile. The next weekend, they don't hint. They outright expect it. Skip a weekend, and they're asking, why don't you do sweet things for me anymore? Welcome to the exhausting world of over-accommodating. What started as a kind gesture morphs into a standard expectation. And when you stop, you're the villain. How unrealistic expectations take root. The Stoics teach us that our actions shape others' perceptions. Seneca wisely said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Translation, if you're always available, you'll be taken for granted. People stop seeing your kindness as a gift and start viewing it as their right. Over time, they'll push the boundaries further, assuming you'll always say yes. The domino effect of over-accommodating in the workplace. You start staying late to help colleagues meet deadlines. At first, they're grateful, but soon you're the one expected to pick up the slack every time while they leave early. In friendships, you're always the one organizing meetups, lending money, or providing emotional support. Suddenly, your friends assume it's your job to hold the group together. In relationships, you drop everything to prioritize your partner's needs, neglecting your own. Before long, your selflessness becomes the minimum standard, and your efforts go unnoticed. When kindness backfires, over-accommodating doesn't just breed unrealistic expectations, it creates resentment, not theirs, yours. You start feeling unappreciated, overworked, and undervalued. And when you finally push back, prepare for the backlash. People don't like it when their free pass gets revoked. How to stop being a perpetual people pleaser. Epictetus reminds us, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. In other words, don't lose yourself trying to please others. It's not unkind to set limits. It's necessary for your sanity and their respect. Steps to reclaim your time and sanity. Start small. Say no to minor requests to build your boundary-setting muscles. Example, I can't cover your shift today. I have plans. Be consistent. If you set a boundary, stick to it. Wavering only invites more pushing. Redefine expectations. If someone complains, calmly reset the narrative. I'm happy to help occasionally, but I need to focus on my priorities too. Prioritize your needs. Ask yourself, what do I gain by saying yes? If the answer is stress or exhaustion, it's okay to decline. Examples of boundary setting in action. Workplace. I can't stay late tonight, but I'm happy to help during my regular hours. Friendships. I've organized the last few meetups. Let's rotate so we all take turns. Relationships. I love doing nice things for you, but I need to feel appreciated too. Let's find ways to balance this. Why setting boundaries is the kindest thing you can do. When you stop over-accommodating, you give others the opportunity to step up. You teach them to respect your time, energy, and contributions. And most importantly, you protect your own peace of mind. Remember, kindness isn't about saying yes to everyone. It's about saying yes to what aligns with your values and priorities. So the next time someone asks for just one more favor, channel your inner Stoic, smile, and politely say, "No, thank you. And if they react poorly, that's not your problem. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Take back your time, your energy, and your life. You're not a doormat. You're a door to something greater. Don't let anyone wipe their feet on that. Number 8. Kindness can enable toxic behavior. Kindness, when misplaced, isn't just a personal downfall. It's an enabler for the worst in others. By excusing harmful actions in the name of being nice, you may inadvertently feed the very behavior that erodes trust, respect, and integrity. Sometimes kindness becomes a shield for toxic individuals to hide behind, protecting them from accountability and allowing their destructive habits to flourish. When your good intentions go bad. Picture this. A friend borrows money from you, swearing it's a one-time thing. You help them out because you're kind like that. Months later, they're back, asking for more. You hesitate but give in because you don't want to seem cold. Suddenly, you're not just their friend, you're their personal ATM. And every time you lend, you reinforce their belief that they don't need to take responsibility. Or consider a romantic relationship where you repeatedly forgive hurtful comments or selfish actions because they're just having a bad day. Your compassion gives them a free pass, and before long, their behavior becomes a pattern. The danger of enabling. The Stoics warned against allowing others' weaknesses to become our own burdens. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." When you excuse toxic behavior in the name of kindness, you allow negativity to fester, both in them and in yourself. They grow more entitled, while you grow more resentful. Your kindness becomes the very thing that enables their toxicity to thrive. How enabling toxic behavior harms you both: erosion of respect. When you don't hold others accountable, they lose respect for you, and so do you. Loss of self-worth. Constantly excusing others' actions makes you question your own boundaries and values. Cycle of dependence. By cushioning the consequences of their behavior, you prevent them from growing. Tough love. The Stoic way. Epictetus teaches us, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Reacting to toxicity with unexamined kindness isn't noble. It's a disservice to both yourself and the other person. Real kindness requires courage. It's about drawing boundaries, speaking hard truths, and refusing to enable harmful actions. Practical examples of breaking the cycle: friendships. When a friend repeatedly asks for help but never reciprocates, it's time for a conversation. I care about you, but I can't keep bailing you out. Let's talk about how you can take charge of this. Workplace. If a colleague consistently shifts their workload onto you, stop covering for them. I have my own responsibilities. Let's figure out how you can manage yours more effectively. Relationships. If a partner continuously crosses boundaries, call it out. I love you, but I can't ignore how this behavior affects me. We need to address this together. The courage to say no. Saying no to toxic behavior isn't unkind. It's the purest form of respect. It says, I value you enough to expect better from you. More importantly, it says, I value myself enough to demand better treatment. Why tough love is true love. True kindness uplifts, empowers, and nurtures growth. It's not about avoiding conflict or keeping the peace at all costs. It's about fostering accountability and encouraging others to rise to their potential. The epic takeaway: by enabling toxicity, you allow it to spread. But by standing firm in your values, you become a beacon of integrity and strength. As Seneca wisely said, brave men rejoice in adversity, just as brave soldiers triumph in war. Your kindness doesn't need to be a weapon against yourself. Use it as a tool to build stronger, healthier connections, where honesty reigns, respect flourishes, and toxicity finds no refuge. Number 9. Ignoring your own needs to be kind leaves you. Empty kindness is a beautiful thing until it drains you dry. When you constantly prioritize everyone else's needs over your own, you're not being kind, you're being a martyr. And let's face it, nobody builds a statue for the person who gave and gave until they had nothing left. The plight of the overgiver. Imagine this. You're the friend who always shows up, moving furniture, babysitting pets, hosting the dinner parties. But when you need a hand, crickets. It's as if your generosity has turned you invisible. Or maybe you're the one in the relationship who always accommodates. What movie should we watch? Oh, whatever you like. Where should we eat? Anywhere's fine. Congratulations, you've become a human doormat with a polite smile. And let's talk about work. You volunteer to stay late, take on extra projects, and never complain. At first, you're the office hero, but soon your colleagues get used to it. Now it's not heroic, it's expected. And when you finally say no, "What's wrong with them?" they whisper. You're left feeling unappreciated, overworked, and empty. The Stoic wake-up call. Marcus Aurelius didn't mince words when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you ignore your own needs to be kind, you surrender that power. You allow others' expectations to dictate your happiness, leaving you resentful and exhausted. True kindness begins with being kind to yourself. Why self-sacrifice backfires? Burnout beckons. You can't pour from an empty cup. Constantly giving without refilling leaves you physically and emotionally drained. Resentment grows. When you unappreciated, unappreciated, that simmering frustration eventually boils over. You lose yourself. Always saying yes to others means saying no to your own dreams, passions, and growth. Practical examples of reclaiming your needs. In relationships, instead of always deferring, try, "Actually, I'd love to watch this movie tonight. I've been looking forward to it." It's not selfish, it's balanced. With friends, if a friend constantly leans on you for favors, say, "I'd love to help, but I need to focus on some things for myself right now." Watch their reaction. It's an eye-opener. At work, the next time your boss asks you to stay late for the third time this week, respond with, "I'd be happy to help, but I'll need to adjust some other priorities first." Assertive and professional. A humorous reminder. Picture this, you're on a plane. The flight attendant says, "Secure your own oxygen mask before assisting others." Makes sense, right? But in life, you're running around, slapping masks on everyone else, gasping for air, and wondering why you feel like passing out. It's time to breathe for yourself first. What self-kindness looks like. Set boundaries. Learn the art of a firm yet polite no. It's liberating. Prioritize rest. Block out time for yourself, whether it's a walk, a hobby, or binge watching your favorite show guilt-free. Acknowledge your needs. Write down what truly makes you happy and make those things non-negotiable. The Stoic truth Epictetus said, "He who is not a slave to himself is free." You don't owe your soul to anyone. Your worth isn't determined by how much you can give to others while neglecting yourself. By prioritizing your needs, you teach others to value and respect you, and you set an example of strength and self-assurance. The epic conclusion. Kindness isn't about draining your tank to keep everyone else's cars running. It's about sharing your fuel wisely, ensuring you have enough to keep your engine roaring. Because when you take care of yourself first, your kindness becomes sustainable, and that's when it truly shines. So go ahead, put on your oxygen mask, sip your coffee before answering the phone, and say no when your plate is already full. Be kind to you. Conclusion, redefining kindness. From sacrifice to strength. Kindness is a powerful force. It can heal, connect, and inspire. But when misplaced, it can also destroy. The irony? True kindness isn't about sacrificing yourself at the altar of others' happiness. It's about balance, boundaries, and bravery. It's about being kind to yourself first so that your kindness to others is authentic, meaningful, and sustainable. The truth about kindness. When kindness lacks discernment, it's not generosity, it's self-betrayal. When kindness is unconditional without reciprocity, it's not love, it's servitude. And when kindness is extended to those who exploit it, it's not virtue, it's naivety. As Marcus Aurelius wisely put it, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This is your power to redefine kindness, not as blind giving, but as intentional generosity. To see through the manipulation, to say no without guilt, and to prioritize your well-being without apology. A challenge to reflect and act. Take a moment and ask yourself, are you giving from a place of abundance or exhaustion? Do your relationships reflect mutual respect, or are they one-sided? Are you kind to yourself, or do you treat yourself as an afterthought? If the answers trouble you, now is the time to shift. It's time to reclaim your energy, rebuild your boundaries, and redefine your worth. Not by how much you give, but by how deeply you value yourself. Be the kindness that inspires, not the kindness that breaks true. Kindness is rooted in strength. It's saying no when it's necessary. It's holding others accountable when they cross the line. It's showing compassion without compromising your self-respect. This kind of kindness doesn't just protect you, it inspires others to rise to the same standard. Your story starts here. Imagine a life where your kindness is respected, your boundaries are honored, and your relationships are balanced. That life is within your reach, starting now. When you shift your perspective, you don't just change how others treat you, you transform how you treat yourself. Now here's your challenge. Reflect on your own life. Is there a situation where your kindness might have crossed into self-sacrifice? Share your thoughts in the comments below. What's your biggest lesson from this video? Or simply write, kindness with strength, to commit to living a more balanced, empowered life. Thank you for joining this journey. If this resonated with you, share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more transformative insights. Stay strong, stay balanced, and as always, stay kind in the truest sense of the word. See you next time.